Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof, as the countdown to Cheltenham is well underway now, just over a month until the Cheltenham Festival in March. We have two good meetings at Warwick and at Newbury. At Warwick we have a Grade 2 in the form of the Kingmaker novices chase. Lanny Serge looks to defend his unbeaten ground over fences and take it to 3 from 3 en route to either the Arkle or the JLT, more likely the former of those two. And a couple of Grade 2s and the Grade 3 Betfair hurdle, handicap hurdle, won last year by Violet Dancer at Newbury. Always a wide open race. Blazer has been the plunge horse all week after Barry Geraghty chose him over Modus. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Aside me this evening to preview all those races, only 6 to cover on the other hoof this evening, is Callum Adele from Timeform and Adam Webb. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
It's an underwhelming weekend, I think we can say.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
I think underwhelming is being kind to describe most of the racing this weekend. I was really disappointed with the entries when they originally came out at Newbury, and I'm left feeling just as disappointed as I was on Monday. So, well.
But we do have a couple of races to look forward to. The Betfair hurdle is as open as it always is. The likes of Modus makes that interesting, alongside Blazer, and Willie Mullins sending everything 4 horses as well. So we have got some races to look forward to. The likes of Lanny Serge as well over fences. Only 2 rivals he'll be facing in the Kingmaker at Warwick. We also got a Mares listed hurdle as well, Jenny's Jewel. I was second to Vroom Vroom Mag last time out at Ascot. She is to go 1 better at Warwick tomorrow afternoon. But all in all, an okay afternoon of action. We'll try and make it as exciting as possible. Naps last week, though, they weren't that exciting, I have to say.
Mine didn't run, I don't think. No,
I don't think yours did, no.
No, we did Maximizer. Yeah, Maximizer didn't run. So I was all right last week. I think you've
I went for Jers Girl each way.
Yeah, that didn't go very well.
Probably Cold as Ice.
Yeah, it was Cold as Ice. Yeah.
He should have won, really.
Should have won, but no, never run over 6-12 again. Never. Oh. So Nats last week were pretty awful, I have to say that. But hopefully we'll be a bit better at this time around. As always, you can get your questions and fancies into at On The Other Hoof. That is our Twitter tag. Online, so do send in your tweets to us. I'll read them out at the end of the show. Any fancy question or anything you may have for the upcoming weekend, even the upcoming months, especially with an eye to Cheltenham in just over a month's time. Do send your anti-post bets in to us, and we'll read them out at the end of the show. Only the 6 races to cover this evening, though, courtesy of Newbury, 4 from Newbury, and then 2 a bit later on from Warwick as well. Starting off, though, in the 150 at Newbury, the Betfair Acker Edge handicap hurdle, 3 miles and 52 yards is the trip. 8 horses going to post here, Adam, and it's a wide open start to the day.
Yeah, it is a wide open start to the day, and the anti-post favourite at the moment is Sykes, who was 4th last time out at Chepstow on really desperate ground and looked to fade in the closing stages behind Away with the Greys. Before that, he qualified for the Attempts when he was 3rd behind Miss Approach at Newbury, but if he has aspirations for the Attempts, he has to be winning this, and he has to be winning this pretty comfortably to get a height to get into that race. But I don't see him winning tomorrow. The one that I'm going to take against him is 0 Shades of Grey, who wasn't at 100% last time out, despite winning at Doncaster and beating Top Billing. The ground here will really suit him, and I can see this being his Cheltenham, because he doesn't act around Cheltenham, and with him preferring softer ground, I think this is the ideal time to catch him before the ground hopefully gets better as the season progresses. It's a surprise, actually, that he didn't actually take to chasing, because I thought he'd have made a really nice chaser, but at Wetherby he didn't jump particularly well. Maybe it's an avenue they'll go back down next season, but I see him as a really good bet tomorrow. I thought he'd be shorter, and I actually thought he'd be favourite tomorrow. There's a couple of others in the race that I think you can avoid. Keltus doesn't want 3 miles for me, and I think he wants better ground, so you can avoid him tomorrow. It's great to see Argo Cat in England, so Desi Skyhill doesn't have to call him Aggro Cat every time he runs. He's interesting on his hurdles rating, but I just think, is he that much better over fences, and will he need the run with it being a new yard and him being off such a long time? And I'll mention the lovable rogue that is Jeffrey Chambertin. If he can win another race again, I'd be surprised. But he fell in at Lingfield and was disappointing last time, so he's got a lot to do, really. 0 Shades of Grey is quite a confident selection in the first.
The one where I'd have with 0 Shades of Grey is that last time he was impressive when winning at Doncaster, and he is a much better horse on a flatter track, but he didn't jump all that fluently last time. If he does that in this sort of race, he may not get away with it against better opposition.
He wasn't 100%. Neil King came out and said despite him winning, he wasn't 100% happy with the performance, and he came back and he wasn't right for a time, but I think he's now better. A bit like Milan's Bar runs of a novice chase later. He came back a bit flat before Christmas, and now he's back as well. And I can see him going well later on in the card as well.
Personally, I'd be willing to give Keltis a chance at 3 miles. The ground isn't ideal for him. It will be drying out all the time, though. But his last run was in very, very good handicap company behind Baron Alco and also Simply a Legend. Those two have gone to confirm that form when not winning, but running very well at Ascot, again, in unpreferred ground. But Keltis steps into probably easier company than he's taken on the last twice. Stepping up in trip it may not be the biggest positive in the world, but he does travel into his races very strongly, and it could just help him bring out a little bit more improvement. He does jump very well on the whole also, but he is still a very young horse, so only 6 years of age. It seems if he's been around for ages. But Sam Twiston Davis taking the ride tomorrow. The yard are back amongst the winners as well. It's not a race that I'd be looking to get invested in money-wise, but I think Keltis, for me, would be my idea of the winner. Masses of respect to Zero Shades of Grey, and I imagine we're going to make it 2-1 to Zero Shades of Grey on the panel.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to have a bet on Zero Shades of Grey again. I mean, I backed it at Donny last time.
You also made me back it, so thank you.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Before putting it up on a time.
I take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a good bet on it, and then the price disappeared. But look, he did a lot wrong that day and still won. He really didn't jump very well at all. They went a real muddling gallop, and I don't think that suited him. So I think if they go a better clip tomorrow, I think he'll jump better. And I think he's taken just a while to hot up this season because chasing didn't really go to plan initially. He ran an okay race at Cheltenham, just didn't get up the hill, which it is strange that he doesn't seem to run his best at Cheltenham because everything suggests that he should. Flatter tracks seem to show him at best. The form of that race hasn't really worked out that well, but it was a muddling contest and he was valued for plenty extra. So he could have gone up plenty more than £5, and I'm quite shocked he's not favourite because Sykes, to me, looks a horse that has found his level. To be honest, he's been beaten comfortably the last twice off this mark. This is a similarly competitive race. I don't see why he would be winning all of a sudden off that mark, and I think Zero Shades of Grey will comfortably be at least competitive off 143. His novice form was really strong. This conditions look ideal. If he can jump better, then I think he'll prove it. I think he's at least a 150 horse. I really like the horse, and I really like him for tomorrow.
Was Betfair a horse you put up to follow?
Yep.
Probably, yeah. He's got a sweep tomorrow.
Yeah, I've been waiting for him to put in a big performance, and he ran well at Haydock 2 outings ago, but in the Fixed Brush Hurdle. But
I don't know what to make of
he's
it.
disappointed again. Like Tom Scudamore, I read his column earlier on. I can't remember which website it was with, so I apologise for that. But he said it's just disappointing last time. If he came to this race off the back of that Haydock run, then he'd have a real chance. And
it's not easy to excuse that run because it was on absolutely bottomless ground.
It's still part of the time where the pipe team were running a bit hit and miss, to be honest.
I might have a saver on him.
It wouldn't surprise me if Betfair got competitive, to be honest.
Yeah, he's definitely a well-handicapped horse when it all comes together.
Oh, undoubtedly.
I think the cheapies are off again tomorrow.
Yeah,
but he's quickly gone down the handicap, so yeah, not without chance.
No. That is the first at Newbury that we'll be covering. 3 more races from Newbury to cover. 2 races, though, courtesy of Warwick, starting with the 205, the OBG.com Mares Hurdle, a listed race over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. It's been down to Glenn's Melody for the last 2 years to take this race. Willie Mullins isn't represented by Glenn's Melody this year, but he does have a representative in the form of Petite Parisienne, having to give weight to the entire field. But Adam, it's a wide open race, maybe lacking a bit of class, as we've seen for the last couple of years, courtesy of Glenn's Melody.
Yeah, I'll start with Petite Parisienne, Willie Mullins contender here. She's wearing a hood for the first time, and it's the right decision considering the way she pulled at Sandown last time out, and she didn't see the trip out behind Polly Peacham. She is always shaped as though a step up in trip would suit. You tend to find with juveniles that, especially those that are running the Triumph, majority of them would like a step up in trip in time. But so far, both of her attempts, 3 of her attempts, I beg your pardon, she was second behind Bit of a Puzzle at the back end of last season. But her attempt last time at Sandown, I just didn't like, and she needs to settle in the hood. If she does settle, then 7-2 could be very tempting. But I'm going to sound quite boring here and suggest that Jesper's Dream is the one to beat. I think the step up in trip is going to bring about significant improvement from her, and she was second behind Miska last time out. I know Miska came out and disappointed last time out, but I think the form of that race is a fairly solid piece of form coming into this race. And against Jenny's Jewel has her level, I'd say. She ran a nice race behind Vroom Vroom Mag last time out, but I don't think the form of that is worth very much. And with Jesper's Dream going up in trip and with more improvements to come, I think she'd be the one to beat here.
I think Jenny's Jewel's form is on a completely different level to anything in the race, to be quite honest. The second of Vroom Vroom Mag looks a lot better than anything Jesper's Dream, has ever done. But saying that, Jesper's Dream does have a sufficient improvement left in her. Jenny's Jewel probably ran to the best that we've seen her in recent times anyway. Last time out was second before that to Diamond King, is now a fairly highly touted handicap hurdler going forward, especially to the Cheltenham Festival, maybe even going forward in the future with the Gordon Elliott team. But Jenny's Jewel, if running to that mark that she did behind Vroom Vroom Mag last time out, she's going to take a lot of beating in this race. So I'd be against Petite Parisienne for the fact that she's got to give the weight away all round. She's not the biggest of horses either, so that may not come easy to her, especially in softer ground as they're going to encounter tomorrow afternoon at Warwick. And Flute Bowl has got everything going for her, but it's a bit of a worry for me that Josh Moore's not gone to Warwick tomorrow. He's got Violet Dancer later on as well, but Jamie's taken over the ride in the Grade 2 Kingmaker. Josh goes to Newbury for 2 rides with John Joe O'Neill, one of them on Mad Jack Mitten in the Betfair Hurdle and one in the bumper a little bit later on. So that could summarise the chances of the Gary Moore pair at Warwick tomorrow afternoon. Whether Flute Bowl would be winning anyway, I'm not sure. I think she's a little bit short of this class. So I think she's a very good handicapper, but no real better than that, especially stepping up into this listed company. For me, I think Jenny's Jewel will be the one that take all the beating. I am wary of Jesper's Dream. I think she's got a lot of improvement yet to come, but whether she can improve past Jenny's Jewel tomorrow, that remains to be seen, and I doubt it personally for myself. Yourself, Callum?
Between the two for me, I don't really have a strong opinion on the race. I thought Jenny's Jewel ran really well last time at Ascot. Conditions, I think, will suit her. I think step up and trip will help. Jesper's Dream is a point winner. She's not done that much wrong. She's improving. Official rating suggests she's got a little bit to find, but she might comfortably prove that she is that good. But, Jenny's Jewel is actually an improving sort, even though she's a 9-year-old. So she's going the right way now. So I'll probably just edge towards Jenny's Jewel's experience and nous against the less exposed Jesper's Dream.
Good use of the word nous.
Yeah, can we move on?
Have you seen what's coming next?
Yeah, have you seen what's coming?
It's not the biggest progression from a mare's listed hurdle to the Betfair Denman Chase, a Grade 2 by name and name only. The 225 at Newbury is up next. Over 2 miles, 7 furlongs and 86 yards. 7 are going to post. But, Adam, none of them should really be the price that they are for a Grade 2, especially with the likes of Rocky Creek at the head of the market, currently at 7-4.
I can't put anything up in this race. It's a horrible race. I asked you off air, I said, what price would Denman be, even age 16 turning up against this lot? You said 2s. I'd probably back him at 2s. Well, I saw the tweet this week from the Denman account. What was it? Why can't I run? I'm fit enough. I can go and do it. And to be fair, he probably would go and do it. Probably win as well. I can't trust many of them, really. Rocky Creek, he's had his problems, and I still think he has them. I mean, 2 mile 5 in the Grand Second I thought was an interesting experiment, but he didn't take to Aintree again. There was something from that Grand National run that obviously lingered with him. And maybe back on a park track will suit him. And he's the one that every horse, I think, in the race has got their flaws. He's probably got the least amount, but I still wouldn't be wanting to back him at 15-8. Ballynagore, does he really want 3 miles on testing ground? I don't think he does. I think he'd be more suited to 2.5. On decent ground, he'd get 3 miles, but the ground would be too soft for him tomorrow to show his best. Oublon de Roublé, or as we know him, Oublon de Zobo, his jumping has gone to pot this season. I do have a suspicion, though, that the Grand National is the main aim with him, and it wouldn't surprise me if he put up an improved performance somewhere along the line. The national weights obviously come out Tuesday. I don't think they want that mark going up too much. Talking of the Grand National, Splash of Ginger's in here, and if he finishes 4th, I've got a technicality to note with this race. He wouldn't qualify for the Grand National because it's not 3 miles. It's 2 miles 7 and 86 yards. So I'll raise a question mark when it comes to the time if I see him still in the race. Bob Ford, Bob Ford's winning this. The race should be downgraded instantly. I know we've had great winners like Corto Star, Denman, Coneygree, but the race would deserve an instant downgrade if any of Bob Ford or Midnight Appeal win. The Giant Bolster's handicap mark has come down, and he'll be appealing maybe in a festival handicap, but not here tomorrow. Very, very tentatively, in the worst renewal of this race I've seen for a long time, Rocky Creek, but I would not be betting. I just leave it. That's all I'm going to say.
I wouldn't say the worst renewal. I mean, 2 years ago, Harry Topper beat Union East.
That's
a better race.
Is it better?
Yeah.
I bet Alfroth was it? Sorry, it's Alfroth.
Harry Topper
Okay, no, it is a better.
Harry Topper
It is a better race.
Every one of those horses in that race would win tomorrow's race.
Dino?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a race that you could pay me to have a bet in, to be honest. If I were to have to put up a selection, it would be Ballynagore, who, just for the sheer fact, if he gets out of bed on the right side, just the bones. If he gets out of bed on the right side, which he rarely does nowadays, then he's a lot better than the rest of the horses in this race. Trip is a bit of a worry, especially on this sort of ground. On his day, he's a very, very classy horse indeed. We've seen that a couple of times so far, especially in the Bowl last year. He ran a cracking race to run Silviniaco Conti. He was fairly near his best at that point, fairly close, with Hollywell back in third. A reproduction of that form would have him winning this race in the Hat Canter. Whether he's going to reproduce that, though, we just don't know. You couldn't put any confidence in putting that sort of form forward for tomorrow. And Tom Scudamore, even in his column earlier on, said, I just don't know what Ballynagore is going to turn up. If the good one does, then he should win. If he doesn't, then it's going to be a tough time for me out there tomorrow afternoon. I think Ballynagore would take the beating if he turned up. That would be my selection. I really couldn't say to anyone, have a bet on this race, for all that it should be one of the feature races of the afternoon. It simply isn't. It's not a good renewal of the race at all. Ballynagore would be the selection, though. Callum, I know you like this race a lot, so go for it.
I haven't got a bloody clue. Like, even the outsiders, Bob Ford. I mean, Bob Ford is 16-1 for this race. I mean, I can't put into words how much that angers me that this is a Grade 2. Houblon has been in really, really poor form. He just looks badly out of sorts for me. I couldn't touch him whatsoever. Rocky Creek, can you excuse? I mean, he's run poorly. From after his Kempton win, when he won quite nicely, he ran okay at Down Royal. You could probably excuse both his entry runs because he just seems to hate the track, hate the test out. And you could probably excuse the Sandown run because it came too quickly. Yeah. So, on that basis, he probably hasn't done that much wrong. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's probably got the most straightforward opportunity.
I have another concern with Creek, though, which I'll just quickly go into. I was reading back the other day, through comments from last year about certain horses, and Rocky Creek came up, and Paul Nicholls was talking about Sprinter Saka, you know, when he ran in the Clarence House, and there was questions about him bleeding and stuff. And he came out with an interesting line that Rocky Creek bleeds every day, but it's not, it happens. So it makes me think, because of that performance at Kempton, did that just finish him for the season? And he's gone to Aintree and he's underperformed because of all these problems he's had, and he was just right for that one day. No,
it's more than that. I think it's just Aintree, to be honest. I think people out of love with it after the first time.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, at Aintree the first time round, he wasn't travelling after the first bit.
That's not. It's not a performance. Yeah, it's not a performance to suggest he's bled.
Unless he bled going down the post. Which is a long way down for the Grand National Aintree.
I don't know. Ballynagore would pick them up and carry them if he was on a going day, but after two absolutely shocking efforts, albeit in top-notch grade ones, I just couldn't back him with any confidence. I just had a little bit of a layoff, first run since December, but I didn't like the fact that David Plight wasn't actually going to run him in this race, and he's only running him because they saw the entries and saw how crap it was.
It's fair enough.
Which is fair. It is.
It's fair enough.
My tentative selection is to go for Rocky Creek because he has the less negatives.
Oh. Talking of Ballynagore 1 second, I've got a question for Callum. Do you remember watching his festival win together? When he came down the hill pulling double, and I went, who's that? I went, Ballynagore. Oh, no.
I'll say yes. Is that the right answer?
Yeah.
You guys have a lovely time together again.
We did.
Well, the choice. No, I don't remember. No, don't go there, Luke. I didn't say that.
I kind of do, yeah. Yeah, I kind of do.
The choice words that came out of your mouth when you saw who it was travelling to everybody else's one were interesting.
Yeah. Oh. Moving on. We'll move on from one disappointing race to another. Not as disappointing race, still fairly disappointing though, in a sense of the 240 at Warwick, the 7betsforfree.com, which is a real website. We found that out earlier on. The Kingmaker novices chase, a grade 2 over 2 miles.
We've got.
Have I missed that one?
Yeah.
Let's not go to Warwick then.
No, you're right. That is the right race.
You're right. It's Racing Post is screwed up, so never mind. Never mind. Just move on.
Are you serious?
Just move on.
Are you serious?
Just move on.
Never cut down me in my prime. I'm mid-intro. I apologise for the stuff.
You ain't no Muslim.
I apologise for the stuff.
You ain't no
We can't get the stuff.
I'll happily go.
Now.
A grade 2 over 2 miles is the Kingmaker Novices Chase this year. Only the 3 horses turning up. We do have a little bit of class on the show. Lamy Surge is 2 from 2 offences so far. It was 4 to the Supreme Novices last year. He's 1 to 5 though for the Kingmaker tomorrow. The other 2, Adam, aren't really slouches in the form of Fox Norton and Violet Dancer.
But no, I've just look at this website, 7 bets for free. Jesus, wow, no comment. Anyway, Lamy Surge, he's done everything he's been asked to do on the 2 chasing starts. At Plumpton, he jumped well, if a little big and left-handed, and at Wetherby, he went on again from that over a longer trip and beat Run Rutland's Run. He didn't really do very much wrong. This is his stiffest test tomorrow. I'm half hoping, this sounds a little greedy, maybe if the weather gods come together and they put too much rain on Warwick, that maybe this is postponed, because then he'd go to Newbury, where I think it'd make the Game Spirit a much more interesting contest with dodging bullets. But I think this is likely to be on, and he should be winning this comfortably before likely heading to the Arkle. But you are right in saying that these 2 in behind him are no mugs, and I'm not going to repeat what you said to me last night, because I just can't believe that the gods aligned for you in this way with Fox Norton and Violet Dancer. Of the pair to chase him home, it'd probably be Violet Dancer, because I think Fox Norton wants decent ground and more of a flatter track than Warwick, because you've obviously got the uphill, downhill section, which I don't think will suit him as much as Violet Dancer. Violet Dancer's not done much wrong over fences for a horse I wasn't particularly convinced about going chasing. His performance last time out at Newbury, it wasn't his best, but he showed real good attitude to beat Stiletto on that occasion. And I see him chasing Lamy Surge home, and he'd probably end up in the Grand Annual, where he'd be off an interesting mark. Lamy Surge should be winning this pretty comfortably.
Just a note about Violet Dancer, he is qualified for the, I think, it's £60,000 bonus from Plumpton.
Yeah.
After winning a novice chase earlier in his career.
He's
3 from 4. Well, he's got Armad on Monday, I think, as well, that would also qualify for a £60,000 bonus. But Lamy Surge, the one thing that would put me off, and I couldn't back him at 1 to 5 whatsoever, 2 to 9, I think, is the best price around for Lamy Surge, is that he's run left-handed twice over fences, once at Plumpton on atrocious ground, and then the other time at Wetherby last time out. He's managed to jump left-handed each time on a left-handed track. Warwick is a much stiffer jumping task than Wetherby or Plumpton. If he does get into a little bit of a habit of going left-handed once again, then Violet Dancer is an out-and-out
left-handed track.
Huh?
I got this left-handed track.
That's left-handed track.
Yeah. So it's all right. Yeah, jump left wherever he likes. He's going quicker, isn't he?
Well, no, he's jumped left-handed twice into the rail at Plumpton and at Wetherby. If he does that again with Violet Dancer out in front, then Violet Dancer may get a little bit of a lead on him. Saying that, either way, Violet Dancer shouldn't be good enough to beat Lamy Surge.
You are clutching there. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
I just don't really like Lamy Surge's jumping. I think it's erratic in places, to be honest. I wouldn't have him at Cheltenham Festival anyway, especially in a higher class. I think he'll get away with it tomorrow because he's much better than Fox Norton and Violet Dancer. But at 1 to 5, 2 to 9, I couldn't condone backing Lamy Surge or putting him in multiple of any kind.
I've seen a lot worse out of the top. The top notch has gone hurdling from last year. He's not the worst by any. He's not the worst by a long way. It's like horses like Shane's Hill that I'm not particularly a fan of that's gone chasing. Activial's another that I've not really been taken by going chasing. His jumping's not bad. It's just that he does have a tendency to go out to the left, and he has been deliberate on 1 or 2. But to be fair to him, he's very quick from one side to another.
It'll be interesting to see how he gets on tomorrow because it'll be his first real jumping test. Obviously, Plumpton was uncompetitive. Wetherby was slightly more competitive, but still well below his level. He should be winning tomorrow, but I wouldn't be backing him. To follow him home, I'll probably have Violet Dancer as well. If I'm being honest, who's the only real pacemaker in this race. Yourself?
Lamy Surge should win. It doesn't really matter who finishes second, to be honest.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does.
Does it?
Yeah, because I'm shrewd.
Well, it doesn't matter. You back them both, haven't you?
Yeah, but one's at a bigger price.
You better say why you backed them both. It wasn't tonight.
No, that's a horrid after time, and I'm not going to say that.
He's a filthy after timer.
Well, you told me last night. So
I did tell you both last night what I was going to do.
Why didn't you tell the viewers and
why didn't you tell Twitter? Yeah.
All the 3,000 followers you have.
So if Lamy Surge happens to unseat tomorrow, you'll get the 1-2, and you'll Yeah.
That's why he's clutching at the left-handed jumping thing.
Yeah, exactly. No wonder.
What if he gets called off?
If that's his, if it gets called off,
Gets his money
if
back.
it gets called off, I will be crying. I'll be crying at the Kevin Ryan gallows.
Or if Fox Norton and Violet Dancer happen to unseat at some point in the race, which you obviously don't want.
Let's stop talking about that horrible moment. The 3 o'clock at Newbury is up next. The Betfair Exchange Chase registered as the Game Spirit Chase. A grade 2 over 2 miles and 92 yards. 5 going to post, more likely going to be 4, unless Warwick is abandoned, which we hope it isn't. Lammy Serge would come here as a novice in his 3rd chase start, but at the moment it is 2nd preference, and he will be going to the Kingmaker novices chase. Dodging Bullets though returns. Adam, last year's champion chase winner, off the back of a 339-day absence. Could he be as good as he was last year?
Hard question to answer. He's going to need this run. There's no doubt he's going to need it. From what has been read in Harry Derham's blog and what Paul Nicholas has been saying, he's done plenty of work since his problem. They seem very happy with him, and he should be winning on all known form, considering he'd need the run. As I said for Warwick's race, if Warwick is abandoned, I'd be very interested in Lammy Serge taking him on, especially as he's race fit and potentially has also more scope to improve over fences as well. His main danger tomorrow, Dodging Bullets, is Top Gamble, who should go a decent gallop here back in trip, and Richard Johnson, who rode him to success in the Future Champions Novices Chase. So they've obviously had a good association together, and he's been running really well this season. He's basically essentially a top-class handicapper who could easily pick up the pieces if Dodging Bullets doesn't perform tomorrow. The other two, Unborough Man's here for price money, Captain Conan, the run at Haydock was just, and he came back in and he wasn't exactly blowing either, so he hadn't had a hard race. I don't know what to make of Captain Conan. I think he's gone at the game personally. This is where he'll go and win tomorrow and continue this trend of Nicky Henderson horses that have come back from injury, but I don't think he will. Dodging Bullets should be winning, but at the price he's no bet. And if you want to have a bet, Top Gamble at 4s probably is a bet tomorrow, but it's a no bet race. Dodging Bullets should win.
Well, the thing about Top Gamble is that if they do decide to go out and make the running, then he will be the only one out in front, because Captain Conan won't go forward, Dodging Bullets won't go forward, and Umbo Rahman won't go forward, and probably wouldn't be good enough to go forward anyway if they go a really good pace. If you were going to put a selection of, I'd agree with you, Adam, that I think 5 to 1's the best price you can get out Top Gamble. If he did try and make the running, then he could be fairly hard to catch, especially with Dodging Bullets. He's likely not to be 100% tomorrow, and there will be a little bit left on him for Cheltenham. But there are question marks about Dodging Bullets. He should be the best. Well, he is the best of these in this field. It's just whether he's the best on the afternoon. Top Gamble would be my idea of a selection. Wouldn't have a bet in the race, but we hope that Dodging Bullets has returned victoriously on his way to the Cheltenham Festival and the Champion Chase next month. Dodging Bullets, yeah or nay for you tomorrow? Yeah,
he won't. I'd be surprised if he got beat. Be surprised if he's not at least in some regards fit for this. Top Gamble isn't on his level. Captain Conan's gone at the game. Umbo Man is completely outclassed, and Lammy Serge won't run, so there's only 4 runners, and you can't get an each way bet. So it's not really any point of having a bet. If you're going to have a bet, you're an idiot. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I've been very blunt tonight.
Smooth analysis from Callum Liddell.
From Ryan Ferris back to Callum Liddell very quickly then.
that was me. I just don't see any point in having a bet.
Let's hope it's not as dramatic as last year anyway. Sada Grugy unseating, also Xizondra unseating, Mr. Mole winning, and then AP McCoy afterwards saying he was going to retire from the saddle. It was interesting fun last year, but
and then look at this one.
But then again, in this race 12 months ago, me and you, Luke, both sat on here and said that Sada Grugy wouldn't get beaten. So yeah, things can happen. Yeah, it was his return bit like Dodging Bullets, so anything could happen.
Do you actually think Top Gamble's going to beat Dodging Bullets?
Not on known form, no. Unless Dodging Bullets really blows up.
If he gets a soft enough lead, then he might be able to rattle Dodging Bullets' cage a little bit, but that's it.
In the same league as Dodging Bullets.
No, Mr. Mole's not in the same league as Sada Grugy. He beat him last year.
Yeah, and he gave him a 15 length.
That's a different.
And he gave him a 15 length head start as well. Oh.
Yeah, it was more better than Top Gamble.
Moving on. We'll move on to something that's really competitive for you. And the final race we're going to be covering on the other hoof this evening, the 3:35 at Newbury, is the Betfair Hurdle, a grade 3 handicap over 2 miles and 69 yards, 22 going to post. Callum, I'm going to start with you this.
I'm not ready, but go on.
Because this is something that you can get stuck into and you can have a bet in.
Yeah.
And it should make you a bit happier than you already are.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's all right.
Is it snapping you out?
I haven't got a clue. I think you've got to take on Blazer, haven't you?
Yeah.
Only 7 days since a pretty impressive win at Leopardstown, but it's not form to get carried away with. And I think he's going to have to be extremely well handicapped to win this. I know he is. I mean, he's £7 winning.
It's 8, isn't it?
It's 8. I thought he's going for 138, so he's off 131. So he is clearly well treated, but I think to win this sort of race as a fairly inexperienced, I know he's French bred, I just think it's a big task. It's a really stiff task. I think he's actually well ahead of his mark. And 4-1 doesn't price that into it, I don't think. Modus is my fancy long term for this. I've kind of gone off him since. I don't really know why, because I don't know. I mean, maybe Garrity being on Blazer. A lot go. I know Adam's keen, and I think there's a lot going towards. Yeah, I did like the way he won at Newbury, and I think he's a lot better than what his mark suggests in terms of ability wise. And I wouldn't be surprised if a big field handicap shows him at his best. I think Stern Reuben is the one I'm going to go for though, because I just like the angle that the last 2 winners of this race have made virtually every yard, and I can see him doing similar. I thought Richard Johnson, he did a lot on him last time in the Ladbroke, and to be fair to him, he has been a tricky horse in the past, but my goodness, he's doing nothing wrong at the moment, and his attitude at Ascot and Ladbroke was superb. And I think this could really suit him. I think he's gone up 8, which is probably fair. But he just looks the horse. He just looks a different proposition at the moment. And Hobbs' yard have been in cracking form all season. Johnson's on again. I think he's the one I like out of them, to be honest. There's a lot of horses I think have a few question marks about them. A Fair Donner is quite interesting, but he's inexperienced. He will certainly be better than a mark of 132 in time, but whether he's going to prove it tomorrow, considering he's so lightly raced, I'm not quite so sure. Warsound and Starkitect coming off break. I think Starkitect needs better ground. Zarev, maybe I was a bit disappointed that Harry Skelton wasn't taking the ride, because it suggests to me they don't think he's that well handicapped. But he has the cheap pieces on. I think that might bring out a little bit more. Don't really like any of the other Mullins ones. I know you like Ethan Grosny. I think it's a poor mark, but I can see why you think it's a big value bet at 66-1. I mean, that is a bit ridiculous. But I'll leave you to talk about that. I think Stone Reuben will be the winner.
How many of these horses have got entries in the Champion Hurdle? 1. Warsound. Interesting if Ferem Warsound directly in this sort of race, especially with a Champion Hurdle entry, Kieran Gething's taking 5 off, as he usually does. But it'll be interesting to see what Warsound can do. I think Philip Hobbs has got a really wide open hand. It's not a race that I'd be delving in too deeply to have a bet in, but Callum alluded to me fancying Ivan Grosny, who was a real top-class juvenile hurdler at one point. He was, I think, he was favourite for a Triumph Hurdle at one point. Things didn't really go to plan for him in that. He ended up in the Fred Winter, didn't run all that well, then won at Fairyhouse the time after. After that, had a long time off from, I think it was April 2014. He then made a reappearance last month behind Henry Higgins and also Calkier, who was second in that race. Now, the thing I wanted to note about Calkier and De Cosimo, they've both got to run off a very much inflated handicap marks. Calkier is £10 higher than he was last time out, and also, well, he's got to give. He's got £3 taken off of him with David Mullins on board, but he's also got De Cosimo in the race for Willie Mullins. De Cosimo's got to run, I think, a £13 higher mark than he was last time out. So those two have got very tough tasks, especially in this sort of race, giving that sort of weight away. I think Ivan Grosny, off the mark of 145, could go fairly close. He was off the back of a long absence last time out, travelled very, very well up until about 2 furlongs left to go, then stopped fairly quickly. Mikey Fogarty taking the ride at 66-1. I should say. You've seen worse each way bets than that. And also another one at the top of the weights, whether it's tomorrow, I'm sure Cheltenham's got another big run on him in another big handicap. But I saw him last time at Cheltenham, went down to the parade ring or winner's enclosure just after the race, and he wasn't blowing at all. You wouldn't have known he had a run whatsoever. Stayed on quite nicely on that occasion. A strong pace to aim at will really benefit him if you've got a grin on your face that you're up to something.
I'm not actually. I don't know what you're talking about.
If there is a fast pace to aim at, which there should be, with the likes of Stern, Rubin, and Starchetek in the race, then Cheltenham could be the one to pick up the pieces for a place at 33-1. Those two each way would be my idea of having a bet in this race. I wouldn't delve in too heavily, but Adam, you are one of those that are delving in fairly heavily with Modus, who's looking to replicate the performances of Get Me Out of Here and My 10 or Yours in recent years.
It's just reeked of a plot ever since he's gone to Paul Nicholls and was bought by JP McManus. It is just, you knew there was one race in mind before Cheltenham, and this was it. The win at Newbury confirmed that when Barry Geraghty was holding on to plenty that day. He won snugly is the word, and ever since Christmas actually, Paul Nicholls has began to work the horse hard, and saw footage of him, saw pictures of him from the other day, and he looks fantastic. Actually, he looks a lot better than he did before Christmas. I'm not concerned about the ground for him tomorrow. He's won on really testing ground before. Nick Schofield obviously takes a ride because Barry Geraghty's got the ride on Blazer. I would take on Blazer at the price. It's 3-1. It's far too short for a bet for Hurdle, and this actually, to me, comes as an afterthought, really, because he's won so well last week, and they know that he's potentially well treated again. They're obviously going to take another bite of the cherry whilst they can. I just think against this field, it's a stronger field than last week, and he beat a horse that's a bit of a hound in Mighty Concourse, so I wouldn't be writing home really about that form. Modus is the main one for me in this race. I've really liked him for a long time, and I'd like to see Nick Schofield get a big winner before joining us for a Cheltenham preview in a couple of weeks' time, so then we can congratulate him for that. Of the rest, there are some that I'm quite lukewarm on. Starchitect and Zara Batu I can't have. Starchitect wants better ground. It's his first run of the season, so I expect him to improve for it. Zara I just don't think is a stayer. I just don't think 2 miles he stays particularly well.
Possibly.
He came there in the Fred Winter to win the race, and he just stopped going to the last and going up the hill. I just don't think Newbury would be a track that particularly suit him. I respect all of Hobbs's runners, and you make a good case for Cheltenham at a big price. He was badly hampered behind Solstice Star, and with a clearer run, I don't think he'd have won, but he'd definitely been closer. Stern Rubin I hugely respect from the front. It's a good point that the last 2 winners have gone from the front in Violet's Dancer and Splash of Ginge. Forrest Bean is one that interests me, but I won't be backing him. I think this has been the plan all season for him, like Modus and several of these. Newbury's a track that I think will really suit him as well. The other bet I've had in the race, and a bit of an after time, sorry, but I backed him at 40s. He can get 33, so it's not really a full and after time. But Motorico shaped well at Kempton behind Simply a Legend and Baron Alco, who have both come out since the Frank the form. I didn't think he got home on that occasion. The first time blinkers interest me, and he has got form on soft ground as well. And Richie McLernan takes a ride on him. I know, Luke, you questioned his attitude behind Duke de Champs, but I actually just think that Duke de Champs is actually a really good horse. I think he's a dog.
I think he's a dog.
I thought he showed a fair attitude to win at Huntingdon. It wasn't the best of races, but he stuck his neck out, and it was just against Duke de Champs. It made me think, were he still thinking of a handicap mark? Because he got dropped £4 for that run as well, so it's sort of job done in that sense, but then he got 3 put on for that run at Kempton, which is good form, in fairness. I thought 40s was too big on him, and obviously I put him up as a horse to follow at the start of the season. Another one that I did put up as a horse to follow is Mad Jack Mitten, and I'm afraid to say I think he is a bit of a hound. I thought he should have, if he was going to win a race, it would have been last time. I know Solstice Star has improved tenfold on his rating from the start of the season, but I thought he came there and he just shied away from it. Is there anything else I could give a mention? Agripart is the form with York Hill and 007. I think he could go well. But I've been really sweet on Modus since October, November time, and I'd be disappointed if he didn't put up a good showing, and I think he's a very fair price.
Yeah, Motorico, I think he's a dog.
Don't. you just think he's a dog because I put him up as a horse to follow. You tend to say that about every horse I put up. In fairness.
I didn't realize you had put him as a horse to follow. I saw him at Market Raisin and I hated his attitude.
To be fair, though, against Duke de Champ, though, he's a horse that could make you look like you're not exactly wanting to go through your effort. So, if you get what I mean.
I say he didn't go through his effort, to be honest. But enough on that. A wide open Betfair hurdle. That's the last race we're going to be covering on the other hoop. We do have question time still to come up. Send your tweets in to at on the other hoop. We'll read out every question and fancy right about now. As always, Kai Wills has sent the first question in saying, emerging talent, largely disappointing. Do you feel that his problems are behind him and he could be decent, and will he win tomorrow? He's been a horse that you've quite liked for a while, hasn't he, Adam?
Yep. I kind of fell out of love with him at Chepstow at the start of the season. Guaranteed he probably needed the run, but I just didn't like his attitude on that day. It was good to see him win last time out, but it's a weak race, and I still have question marks over him. There is another horse in that race I like called Meet the Legend, but whether he was too keen at Kempton, so I'd like to see him settle better.
Harry
but it's not a
right today as well.
Yeah, that's quite significant actually. I think it's probably also to get to know him as well, because he is a relatively new York horse to the yard. Obviously, Highclere bought him for 130,000, so he's an interesting horse for the future. Whatever he does this season, I'm still going to keep my eye on him next season. So even if he wins this novice hurdle, you should get a fair handicap mark. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah. Kai's second question. It says Rocky Creek has to have a serious chance of winning the Gold Cup trial. Oh. He's then put an emoji to say, I'm being sarcastic with that. Paul Nicholls' horses seem to be flying at the moment. I think Rocky Creek's got a fairly obvious chance of winning it tomorrow, hasn't he, really?
It's a crap race. Oh.
Very much so. His final question from Kai was Smashing in the Red Mills, ridden by David Russell. He usually rides Morning Assembly, a tip in itself. Hashtag yay, oh, nay.
Probably.
The thing about Smashing, David Russell, I think he's done a Bet Victor blog saying that it was very tight between them. The only reason he went for Smashing is because he's won on the ground over course and distance as well, but he really didn't want to side with either of them because he wanted to ride them both. I wouldn't read a great deal into it, but he did just prefer Smashing.
I'd agree with him on that, because Morning Assembly for me is a real stayer and wants a trip, so I don't know where his end of season plan is, if he's going to go to Fairyhouse for the Irish National, or whether he comes over for the Grand National, who knows. But it was a good run from Morning Assembly. I was pleased to see him still show plenty of resolution on his comeback.
Kev the Punter is in next with a question saying, in a tricky bet for hurdle, I quite like Calcare each way, with any firm offering 5 places. Great comeback run at Leopardstown. The one thing I say about Calcare is he's got to run off a much higher handicap mark over here in England. I think it's £10 higher than his previous run over in Ireland. For all that it was a very good one, he is off a very high handicap mark in a better race this time around.
Phil hates the Irish, obviously. Like Diamond King. Oh, God, let's not talk about him.
He's then also said he'd love to see Montbazon run a big race for Alan King after 18 months off. I think we all would, in fairness.
There's a positive for Montbazon. I think Callum will appreciate this positive. No Robert Thornton anymore.
Because then I haven't got my jockey change from Robert Thornton to other angle. I miss it.
To 8 other.
Oh.
Who's riding Montbazon, by the way? Is it Dennis O'Regan?
Yeah, Dennis O'Regan, yeah.
Dennis O'Regan, okay. Alex Bellew is next in saying, could Starship Tech be the
that one's better ground.
Could Starship be weak handicapped?
I think he meant well handicapped. I don't think.
Yeah, well handicapped. There we go. That'd probably be it. Sorry, apologies for that.
I've never heard of a horse
David
that's
Pipes
been
is
weakly
leaving. Donald McCain.
He could be well handicapped. I think Donald McCain thought he was a Grade 1 horse, which I raised my doubts about. I just think better ground is what he wants, and with it being first time out and really testing ground, I'm just not convinced.
There'll probably be something at Cheltenham for him, anyway.
Oh yeah, county hurdle. There you go.
Jeff Handley is tweeting and saying, Open Eagle is one I'm noted for. The festival runs at Warwick tomorrow. He's off for a day's racing at Cottenham. Point-to-point racing for Jeff Handley tomorrow. Have a good day at Cottenham. Best of luck with Open Eagle as well, really. He should be taking that race at Warwick. I think it's the opener or the second race at Warwick tomorrow afternoon.
Fair rival against him, though, in Mystical Night, who was being a bit of a hype horse, really, for Rebecca Curtis. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on tomorrow. Mark Walsh takes the ride, which I think is very interesting.
Interesting to see him coming over, actually. But we'll see on that regard. I think Open Eagle should take a lot of beating if he does replicate that form he's shown the last twice on these shores anyway. Alan Taxi is then tweeted and saying something we brought up a bit earlier on with Harry Skelton not riding Zareb, albeit he is at Newbury tomorrow afternoon. There's nothing else that we can really read in that we haven't already mentioned about that, is there?
Sorry, he's just what is Adam on about on Zareb? Well, in a truly run race over 2 miles, I don't think he stays. He proved it in the Fred Winter that he didn't stay.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I wouldn't disagree with
that. To be honest, I completely agree with you.
You can win over 2 miles in a really slowly run juvenile race, but I think that when you go in end-to-end gallop in something like a Betfair hurdle, I think he'd be found out, and I don't think he's that well handicapped either.
I've been disappointed with Zareb this year, to be quite frank. I thought he would make into a really nice handicapper, and he just hasn't done so. I thought he couldn't even make into the type of horse that may even be better than a handicap in time, but he's shown no signs this year of progressing from his juvenile season. And to be honest, I couldn't be backing him tomorrow whatsoever. For all that I do hope he takes a step forward and runs very well. Jeff Handley has tweeted in again with another Mullins horse this time. This time it's Calcare, not the first mention on the show for Calcare. Looks a real horse with potential. Ran a stormer at Leopardstown. Will it run a big race tomorrow?
Should do.
It wouldn't surprise if you run a big race, but again, it's the handicap mark over here that's really putting me off.
Too high, I'd say.
I agree with that. Rebecca Adams compliments my jumper.
Yeah, it's a nice jumper in fairness.
Present from Grandma.
Oh.
Christmas present. Yeah, Christmas present. Got a good eye for fashion as that one.
Better eye than you.
Tony Amato has tweeted saying, Jesper's dream the 205 back up in trip is a good thing tomorrow with a clear round. I wouldn't say a good thing. I think Jenny's Jewel will serve it up to Jesper's dream, but would have every single chance.
I wouldn't say she's a good thing tomorrow, but I do think the improvement will come for a step up in trip.
It's a tricky enough race. One from Phil Dinsdale saying, as Luke looks lovingly into Callum's eye with the 2.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Two else.
Yeah.
They have a lover's tiff on Valentine's. It's not even Valentine's.
Are you looking forward to Valentine's Day being spent together?
No, I'm on radio on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
I'll be spending it with Mick Norton and Ollie Pimlott.
Ooh, romantic.
Very much so. Very much so.
I hope you're covering Exeter because there's plenty of rain down there and it's a good card. So I hope
so as well. Jamie Brownlow has tweeted in saying the Newbury in the Betfair hurdle 335 is going each way on a fair d'honneur, and Warsound, important £5 claim off for Warsound, should help him. One thing about Warsound, Kieran Gethings does always ride him, so it's not as if the £5 claim is taking extra off, it's just what it's been used to in the past. But best of luck with Warsound and a fair d'honneur. Glenn Ledgerwood, who gave us a winner last week, Adam, I think it was 14-1 over in Ireland, wasn't it?
It was one of those repeat winners. I think we have about 4 or 5 of them, and this was one of them.
Well, he says not expecting 2 in a row. However, Shenandoah 33-1 in the 120 and Jerry Chambertin 14-1 in the 150 are both interesting. Agrippa also interesting at 20-1 for the Betfair. What's the best each way bet of Cheltenham, please? Thanks and great show. Thanks for watching as ever, Glenn. Best each way bet for Cheltenham. That's a tough one. I'm not going to lie.
Good God.
No.
Ask that next week. I need to think about that because normally I'd like to advise one in the handicaps because I think there'll be easier races to try and pick an each way shot in. So.
Yeah.
Next sensation still an each way price in the Grand Annual.
Yeah, I knew you'd go for that.
KJ the second has said he loves the bluntness of Callum Liddell on the other hoof tonight. It's the best racing analysis I've seen this week.
Good.
It's been pretty shocking analysis also.
It doesn't say much for the rest.
1 second.
Jeff Handley, gone.
Just going to check the prices for one of the handicaps at the festival and I'll see what price this horse is.
Thanks for telling us that.
Yeah,
Jeff Handley just tweeted in saying the Betfair hurdle, by far the best race. He's on Motorico at 33-1. Ooh. I like the fast-paced big price winners the last 2 years. There's lots of big price runners in there, Jeff.
Yeah, a few people like that Motorico.
I don't think he's straightforward at all.
I really see the angle about too fast run 2 miles. I can't see that.
I just couldn't agree with him at all.
I'll give you an each way bet for the festival. If you can get 20-1 back John Spirit in the round advisory plate, I think he's been trained for that all season. I know his record on the new course may not exactly be inspiring, but I think he's well handicapped to strike at the festival. And Callum agrees.
It's going to take what Callum says last week.
Well, I said it before him on trial.
Will it be on the right course?
No, but I have a feeling he's been trained for it all season. I think 20s is a more than fair each way price on a well-handicapped horse.
I know he's been trained for it all season.
I think that's blatantly obvious, to be
I
honest.
think the year he was fourth behind Ballynagore, though, he wasn't trained for the race. So when Ballynagore came to the festival fit, fresh and well, he was never going to beat Ballynagore on that day, but I think he ran as well as he could with a busy season. As this year's been prepped towards it, I expect a better performance than that. And he's £3 lower as well.
Good luck.
I have to put something up now, aren't I?
Yeah, Callum is currently searching for an each way bet because he's been left behind. We are going to do some advertising, though, for KJ this second. He's got a spare ticket, at least one spare ticket for Newbury tomorrow for free. If anyone wants it, do contact KJ for a day's racing with Will Kajani, which I highly do not recommend. It's one of the worst things. It's one of the worst things in the world.
Be nice. Be nice.
That is me being nice. Sonia Martel tweets back in saying, I think Harry Whittington's runner in the Betfair Hurdle, a fair donor, is a cracking each way bet at 10-1. Best of luck with that, Tony. And KJ comes back in again and says, Bouvardere, who's should, hopefully, as long as the meeting goes ahead, at Exeter, says, is a real slogger worry for Bouvardere at Exeter this coming Sunday.
Potentially.
I don't think so.
As long as you don't want too hard a race going into Cheltenham. Against that field, I know that Paul Nicholls has mentioned Politolog for a handicap at the festival, so he doesn't really want to be finishing too close to him for that handicap mark to be ruined. So he should be winning comfortably over there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too much of a problem for me anyway. Kev the Bunter tweets and saying, who do you fancy for the Ryanair with Road to Riches and Vitor possibly going to the Gold Cup? Where is the value?
The Ryanair is a race that I'm going to be perfectly honest, I have not looked at because I just think it's a horrible race this year. You can make a case for Joss's Hill, but I'm not a fan of Joss's Hill, though. But I thought that 20s was probably value in a really bad Ryanair.
I have had two 25-1.
Okay. 40s with 10 bet, that's why it's like.
That's not a real
right.
That's not a real price.
I have had a couple of bets in the Ryanair, only for a fiver at big prices on Betfair a while ago in Gilgan-Boa and Champagne West. Yeah, you don't want to have after time those two races, to be honest.
Champagne West, you definitely don't.
Champagne West had every chance, I think, before making a horrid mistake on trials day. That seems to be still gone. I'm still convinced if Gilgan-Boa gets there on good ground, then he'd run a bigger race than everyone else is giving credit for. But again, whether I see him winning it, I'm not 100% sure in that. The Ryanair we'll be previewing soon enough anyway on OnTheOtherHoof, hopefully, when it's a bit clearer further down the line. Steve Mullington, what do you think about there not being a single meeting in the north all weekend? Warwick's in the north, isn't it?
No,
Sorry.
it's south of Birmingham.
He was joking.
Warwick and Newbury for me are north, so.
Toxteth was off, to be fair. And that's not north either.
It's north-ish. It's
not north, it's the Midlands.
Well,
they're all north.
Well, compared to where Luke lives, it's definitely when he's down south, it's all north to him. It's Midlands.
Look at that Shrewsy. It's about John Spirit for the Brown Advisory Play. Stu.
I'd cash out now.
Yeah.
Dan Heath tweets and saying, if I think it's regarding Bouvardere, if he wins, he could honestly mark higher than Duvan's supreme hurdle mark, only £1 behind.
That's not true. I looked that up. That was Duvan's rating going into the supreme.
Right. Okay.
He's actually rated 160 after it.
25-1. Stu Williams got about John Spirit.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Soppy Cakes. Good name. I like Soppy Cakes. Has tweeted in saying, any thoughts on the 350 at Warwick? I'm talking myself into backing Coggery, but I like the look of Galway Jack. I thought Galway Jack was getting unlucky not to win last time out, to be honest, at Kempton. It is a weird race with Tak and Desoy heading the ways with Leighton Aspel on board.
He's not. He's here for a threat.
No.
And
that's what Frankie usually has one big day a year, but that hasn't come yet so far. He's only had one run this year. Charlie Doyle's taking £5 off.
How is Tak and Desoy favourite tomorrow?
He's joint favourite alongside Galway Jack.
Well, joint favourite. I just couldn't have him. Coggery is interesting, really backing trip. I have a feeling they may force tactics with him. They may go out and try and make call and use his stamina to full advantage, which wouldn't be a bad idea with him. especially with the buys the first time, it's worth a go.
Yeah, I've no view on that race, to be quite honest. I wouldn't advise having a bet in it, if I'm being perfectly honest. Best of luck, whatever you do, side with their soppy cakes. Just sounds stupid to say. That is the final question that we have in for this evening. Thanks to everyone that sent in their fancies, questions, yada, 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 whatever, going forward. It is nap time, though, for us this evening. Adam.
0 Shades of Grey.
Bruh.
Sorry, I'm going to have to overrule, because this is Callum's horse. Callum,
I
have another one. You go for that. You go for that, because I've got another one.
What were you going to nap?
Well, I mean, I usually nap horse that haven't been mentioned on the show, so I'm going to go to Wolves. Invade in the 6:45. Horse that shaped better than the result last time. Won an OK maiden previously, which suggests it's got a good mark. Yard is still in good form. I think there's enough pace on tomorrow, and it's not that far behind Holly Point in that race last time, where it shaped better than it, and it's double the price. So I quite like Invade in the 6:45.
I'm going to Warwick for my nap in the final race of the day, the 4:25. The Chris Gordon yard were back in form in a fairly big way at Kempton this evening with 2 places and a winner. Rude and Crude, I think, could go fairly well for them. Second time in handicap company. Ran well enough at Huntingdon in handicap company for the first time. Only his 3rd run for the yard.
A Chris Gordon horse again.
Every time you
I'm sorry about the amount of money I lost on it this afternoon.
Stop bagging Chris Gordon horses.
He's annoyed because I had a winner this afternoon.
I'm not annoyed at all. I'm glad you had a winner, but it's too one-dimensional.
Yard back in form, and there is money for Rude and Crude as well. He's 14-1 into 9-1 currently, with potentially leading handicap mark of 113. He should be going very close indeed. Rude and Crude for myself. I do think that's going to
drives you perfectly.
North Light,
yeah.
Isn't that a bit of a dog?
No. It is a bit. One more thing that we do have to do is the Maidan competition.
Oops, I kind of
forgot. He's remembered this week because he's had a good week.
I forgot to even enter, so I'll have slipped down the table. Oh well.
That's poor. From 15th up to 6th is myself.
Oh, yeah.
Ahead.
Copied my bet.
Yeah. Ahead of Mr. Maidan. And also Gary Woods. So I'm delighted.
Where am I?
Callum is 1 place behind me.
Oh.
Behind
you're still £21, 25.
Alright, that's not so bad.
Both myself and Callum had Grand Argentier this week, and I've had Sugar Boy each way on top of that. Adam is descending.
Yep.
Down the table.
Do you lose money for not tipping?
Yeah, you lose 20 quid. You lose both your nap stakes.
Oh, good.
Julian is top, though, after having Rich Tapestry. Andrew Hawkins also had Rich Tapestry. He's climbing. Huh?
She was late because of a power cut. And they let her have it anyway, and it won. So
disgraceful. Do go and follow our friends over at EI Bloodstock. Although I still say it's cooler if you say L Bloodstock. It makes it sound much better than it already
sounds like a cartel gang.
Exactly. Yeah. I can see Gary running that, to be quite honest. The Londoner Gary running a cartel gang called L Bloodstock. I can see that. But at EI Bloodstock is their Twitter page. Do go and follow them for updates on pretty much everything horse racing at this team. But thank you for joining us this week. Thank you to Adam. Thank you to Callum as well for joining us for what's an underwhelming weekend of racing, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Best card is at Exeter on Sunday, and I hope it's on.
It is a good card at Exeter. Where are we next week racing?
Grand National Trial and Ascot Chase. And the Grand National weights come out on Tuesday, so I'll be looking forward to that very much. Trying to find a big price winner. I think me and Callum really
until
have, so.
Until Haydock and Ascot a little bit later on next week. Have a good day's racing tomorrow. Best of luck if you are having a bet. Until next week, we'll see you then on the other hoof.